Welcome to the deep dive.
Right on.
Today, we're going to be tackling SEO and PPC.
Ooh, yeah. Two big ones.
Yeah. So, search engine optimization, pay-per-click advertising, you know what they are.
Of course.
But we've got some really great material that our listeners sent in, so thank you.
Yeah.
Really unpacking these two. Not just what they are, but also, crucially, when do you use one versus the other?
Right.
Or a combination of both.
Right. When to double down, when to pick and choose. Yeah.
Yeah. So think of this deep dive as your own personal strategy session. We're going to go over what each one is. We're going to explore, the impact they have both immediately and in the long term. And then just to really bring it to life, we're going to go over some real-world examples.
Love that.
So let's just jump right in. Why don't we start with SEO?
Let's do it.
Now, your sources define SEO as, it's the work that you do to make your website show up higher in organic search results.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about paying for ads. It's about making your site so good that Google, Bing, whatever you're using, they place it higher when people are searching.
Yeah, and what I think is so interesting about that is that, you say make your site so good, that actually comprises a couple of different things.
Okay.
So your sources are highlighting that SEO has both what we call on-page and off-page elements.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So on-page SEO is, the content of your website, the keywords you're using, all that stuff.
Makes sense.
Off-page is about links, backlinks to your website, so other websites linking to you.
Oh, okay.
And all of this ultimately rolls up into the goal of getting, more visitors to your site.
Right.
And the important part is you're not paying per click. You're not going to Google and saying, hey, every time someone comes to my site, I'll give you $1.
Right. Exactly. So the materials that you sent really emphasize the sustainability of SEO.
Right.
Like they call it a marathon, not a sprint.
It's a long game.
Long game.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they talk about sustainable traffic. So you put in all this effort, you get these rankings, and then the idea is you can maintain that with less ongoing investment compared to PPC, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Totally. Yeah.
But you can kind of let it, ride the wave a little bit.
Ride the wave, you build it, and then it's more about maintenance.
Exactly. Now, if we zoom out a little bit,
yeah,
showing up consistently high up in those organic search results,
yeah,
build something, just as valuable.
Yeah.
And that is brand credibility.
Oh, absolutely.
So many people trust organic results more.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, Google told me this is the best thing.
Yeah, it's not an advertisement, right?
Works.
It's Google's recommendation.
Exactly. And your sources actually, suggest that high organic rankings can lead to higher click-through rates.
Yeah, makes sense. People are more likely to click on the thing they trust.
Right. Because they see it as more of a, an honest recommendation from Google.
Yeah.
As opposed to an ad where it's like, well, of course that person's paying to be at the top.
Yeah, they're just trying to sell me something. Exactly.
And then another major benefit highlighted, time and time again in these materials is the long-term cost effectiveness of SEO.
Yeah, it's expensive up front, but in the long term, it's much cheaper.
Exactly. So you're investing time, you're investing resources.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not paying Google every time someone clicks.
Exactly.
You're putting in the sweat equity.
Exactly. So what are some of those upfront investments? Because people should really be prepared for that. It's not free.
Yeah, it's not free. You are going to be spending time learning, who your target audience is, what keywords they're searching.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be spending time creating content, optimizing that content, making sure that your website itself is, kind of Google friendly in how it's structured.
Yeah, all the technical stuff under the hood.
Exactly. And then off-page stuff, link building, relationship building.
Yeah.
You're spending time doing that as well.
Yeah.
Now, one of the stats that really jumped out at me from your sources is that they cite a HubSpot report that shows that the average conversion rate for SEO is 14.6%.
Wow.
Versus only 1.6% for PPC.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah. So why do you think we see such a massive gap in conversion rates between the two?
I think it comes down to a couple of things. One is trust, right? We talked about that. People trust organic results more. But I think the other thing is intent, right? So someone who is searching on Google, they're going to Google, they're typing in a query, they're pretty far down the road of deciding what they want.
They're looking for something specific.
They know what they want. Whereas a PPC ad, even though it can be super targeted, it might just be interrupting what someone is doing. They might click on it because, they're curious or it addresses a need, but they're not necessarily ready to buy, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of see it as like, the organic searcher is raising their hand saying, I want this, whereas the PPC ad is kind of like going up to someone on the street and saying, hey, you want to buy this?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
So with all these great benefits, long-term benefits, and, the conversion rates, when should someone prioritize SEO as part of their online growth strategy?
That is a good question. And honestly, your sources had some great points on this. So if you're thinking long term, if you're willing to put in the time and effort to build a solid foundation, SEO is where you want to go.
Yeah.
If you want to see results, next week or next month, that's not SEO.
Yeah, that's a different story.
But if you're willing to put in the time, SEO is going to be the thing that gives you that long-term sustainable success.
Totally. And I think it also makes sense if you are maybe operating with a smaller budget.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your sources point out that SEO is a great way to grow traffic over time without constantly spending a lot on ads. So, this is particularly relevant for startups or maybe smaller businesses that don't have, unlimited cash to throw at Google every month.
Yeah, absolutely. And it allows you to build, equity in your own website rather than paying, Facebook or Google to get you traffic.
Exactly. Exactly. So what about a business where, a core part of what they do is creating content?
Oh, content is king. Content is king.
Content is king, right?
Yeah.
So, blog posts, in-depth articles, guides, that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Should those types of businesses be prioritizing SEO?
Yeah, if content is at the core of what you do,
Right.
SEO is going to be the thing that helps people find that content.
Makes sense.
And, a really well-optimized piece of content, it can continue to attract traffic and generate leads for months, even years after you publish it.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah.
It just sits there. It just keeps working.
And it builds that credibility, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Now, one of the examples in the materials that you sent that I thought was really good is the Patagonia case study.
Yeah, Patagonia's nailing it.
They're crushing it. And they're a very values-driven brand. They care about sustainability. They care about the environment. And they create a ton of great content around those topics. And that content has not only helped their SEO rankings, it's actually positioned them as a leader
Exactly.
in the industry.
Yeah, and it goes beyond just like outdoor gear, right? It taps into this audience that shares those same values.
So they're not just selling jackets.
Right.
They're selling this whole lifestyle, this whole ethos.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, that's a great example of SEO really impacting, the big picture.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. Let's talk PPC.
Okay, yeah.
So your sources explain PPC as, it's a model where you are paying every time someone clicks on your ad.
Yeah.
And, there are all sorts of platforms. Google Ads is one of the biggest ones.
Of course, yeah.
And the immediate benefit that stands out to me is just visibility.
Speed.
Yeah. It's like instant, right?
You launch a campaign and boom, you're at the top.
Yeah. It's the opposite of SEO in that sense.
Yeah.
SEO is a slow burn,
Right.
but PPC is like, boom, I'm there.
I need traffic today, PPC.
Exactly. Now, the other thing that I think is super interesting about PPC is the targeting.
Oh, yeah.
You can get really, really specific.
Laser focus.
Yeah. So, you can target based on demographics, location, interests. You can even get down to, are they on their phone? Are they on their desktop?
Crazy, right?
It's crazy.
You're not just like casting a wide net and hoping for the best.
Right.
You're really homing in on that exact customer.
Exactly. And, that's huge.
Yeah.
Because it allows you to really tailor your messaging to those specific people.
Absolutely.
So it's not just, a generic ad that you're showing to everyone. It's like, okay, I know you're interested in this. I know you live in this city. I know you're on your phone right now.
Yeah.
Here's an ad just for you.
Boom. Super relevant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, another big advantage of PPC is the data.
Measurable results. You know what's happening.
Yeah, everything is trackable. So you can see how your ads are performing in real time.
Mm-hmm.
You can track impressions, clicks, conversion rates,
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah, and so you can make decisions based on what the data is showing you, right?
Exactly. It's not like you're throwing stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks.
Right, yeah. You have the data to back up your decisions.
And you can, change your strategy based on what's working and what's not working.
In real time.
In real time.
Yeah.
And then one other feature of PPC that I think is super powerful is the ability to A/B test.
Oh, yeah.
You can test different ad copy. You can test different landing pages.
Different calls to action, see what really resonates. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can kind of iterate and figure out what's working best.
Yeah.
So when should a business really consider PPC as a central part of their strategy?
The sources that you sent were pretty clear on this. If you need results fast, PPC is your go-to.
Okay.
You need to drive sales today, tomorrow, next week.
Yeah.
You got a product launch, PPC.
Yeah.
You need leads now, PPC. It's that thing that you can turn on and off, and it can get you those results quickly.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And then what about if you're in a really competitive market?
Oh, yeah.
Like it's hard to stand out. SEO is going to take forever. What do you do?
PPC.
PPC.
Yeah, because you might not be ranking on page 1 of Google organically, but you can pay to be there.
You're buying your way to the top.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're in, let's say you're selling, I don't know, you're selling phone cases or something, right? It's super competitive.
It's a bloodbath.
Yeah. So PPC is the way that you can, even if your website is brand new, you can start getting traffic right away.
Yeah.
And start making sales right away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, your sources also highlight the value of PPC for, timely promotions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Black Friday, Cyber Monday,
X school.
whatever. It's a holiday. You need to boost sales.
Yeah. Any sort of time-sensitive promotion,
Exactly.
PPC can really help you, capitalize on that.
Yeah. Because it's so agile. Right.
Yeah. You can ramp it up when you need to.
Exactly.
And then when the promotion's over, you can dial it back.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the case studies in the materials you sent that I found really interesting was the Airbnb case study.
Yeah, Airbnb, that's a good one.
When they were first getting started, they were competing with, all these hotels.
Yeah.
All these, established players.
Crazy.
Right. And they use PPC very aggressively to kind of get their name out there.
Yeah, they really leveraged PPC to get that initial traction.
Exactly. And it was really successful for them.
Yeah, and now they're obviously a huge company.
Exactly. But in those early days,
yeah,
PPC was mission critical.
For sure.
All right. So we've talked about SEO, we talked about PPC, and here's where I think things get really, really interesting.
Okay, I'm ready.
The sources that you sent strongly suggest that oftentimes the best approach isn't SEO or PPC, but it's actually a combination of the two.
Yeah, stronger together.
Yeah, it's almost like, two sides of the same coin.
Yin and yang.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you've got SEO kind of building that long-term foundation,
Right.
Long game, and then PPC to kind of fill in the gaps, address immediate needs.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing is that they actually complement each other really well.
Yeah.
Like you can use the data from your PPC campaigns to inform your SEO strategy.
Right.
And that's something your sources call keyword synergy.
Right. Yeah, keyword synergy, which I thought was such a good point. So explain what that means.
So, you're running your PPC campaigns and you're seeing, okay, these keywords are getting me clicks.
Yeah.
These keywords are getting me conversions.
Right.
You can take those keywords and use them in your SEO content.
Yeah.
You can use them in your website copy.
You're basically letting PPC tell you what's working.
Exactly.
And then you're using that information to fine-tune your SEO.
Yeah, because PPC is giving you real-time data.
Yeah.
On what people are searching for, what they're clicking on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you can take that information and really improve your SEO strategy over time. Now, in terms of budget, the sources also recommend thinking about, how you're allocating your marketing budget.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not just dumping everything into SEO. You're not just dumping everything into PPC.
Right.
It's about finding that balance.
Yeah, and that balance is probably going to be different for every business.
Exactly.
So, if you're a brand new business, maybe you need to lean a little bit more heavily on PPC at the beginning.
Right.
To get that initial traction. But then as your SEO starts to pick up steam, you can maybe, reallocate some of those funds.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, how do you know if your efforts are working?
Yeah, how do you measure success?
How do you measure success, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for SEO,
Mm-hmm.
your sources say, look, you got to track organic traffic. How many people are finding you through search?
Yep.
Where are you ranking for your keywords?
Yep.
And this is a big one, the quality and the quantity of backlinks.
Oh, yeah, backlinks are huge for SEO.
Yeah. And then ultimately, are people converting once they get to your site? So, are they buying something? Are they signing up? Are they filling out a form?
Are they becoming a customer?
Exactly. So for PPC,
Mm-hmm.
a few different metrics to look at. Click-through rate, How often are people clicking your ad? Cost per click? How much are you paying for each click?
Yep.
Conversion rate from paid ads?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the big one, return on investment or ROI.
Yeah, you got to make sure you're making more money than you're spending.
Yeah. At the end of the day, this is a business.
Absolutely.
We're not just doing this for fun.
Although, it should be fun.
It should be fun, but it's also a business.
Yeah.
Now, your sources actually mention a bunch of great tools that can help you track all this stuff.
Yeah.
Google Analytics, Ahrefs.
Yeah, those are some of the best tools out there.
Yeah. And so, we're not going to get into the weeds on how to use those tools today, but just know that those tools exist and they can be incredibly helpful.
Yeah, and there are a ton of resources out there on how to use them.
Exactly. So, the last thing I want to touch on is your sources talk about AI. They talk about automation.
Yeah, it's the future. It's the future.
It's changing everything.
Absolutely.
So, SEO. How is AI changing SEO?
So one of the big trends right now is personalization.
Okay.
So Google is getting really good at tailoring search results to the individual.
Right. Makes sense.
And then there's this concept called entity-based optimization.
What is that?
Okay, so Google is getting really good at understanding the meaning behind searches.
Oh, interesting.
So it's not just about keywords anymore. It's about, okay, what is this person actually looking for?
Right.
What are their needs?
Like the intent behind the words.
Yeah. And what's the context, right?
Yeah.
So an entity is, a person, a place, a thing, a concept. And Google is getting really good at connecting the dots.
That's wild. So how does that impact, how we actually do SEO?
So, it means that we have to think more holistically.
Okay.
We have to create really comprehensive content that covers a topic in depth.
Yeah.
And it means that we have to think about, how are we connecting with the user?
Right. It's not just about, jamming keywords in there.
Yeah, it's not about keyword stuffing anymore.
Yeah. So what about PPC? How's AI changing that?
So AI-powered campaign management is a huge thing right now.
Yeah.
So you're using AI to automate and optimize your ad campaigns. So, bid management,
Right.
audience targeting,
Yeah.
ad copy.
Wow.
AI can do it all.
So does that mean, we're all going to be out of jobs?
I don't know, maybe. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
But it does mean that we have to stay on top of it. We have to keep learning. We have to understand how AI is changing the game.
And how to leverage it to our advantage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, we've covered a lot of ground today.
Mm-hmm.
SEO, PPC, the pros and cons of each, when to use each one.
Yeah.
And, the big takeaway is that it's not an either-or situation.
It rarely is.
It rarely is.
Right.
A lot of times, the best approach is a blend. Both SEO and PPC working together.
Yeah, they can really make each other stronger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, think about your goals, your timeline, your budget,
Mm-hmm.
and experiment.
Absolutely.
Experiment and see what works for you.
Yeah. It's not it's not one size fits all. It's really got to figure out what works best for your business.
Exactly. And I think one of the most important things you can do is just track your results.
Yeah. If you're not measuring, you're not managing.
Right. And if you're not tracking, you don't know what's working.
Exactly. It's easy to get caught up in the tactics, but if you're not tracking your results, it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. So, I think this deep dive has given you a much clearer understanding of how these two strategies work and how they can be used to grow your business.
Yeah.
So, now it's up to you.
Yeah, take this information, go out there and crush it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What will you explore further based on what we've discussed today?